Today we're going to be talking about how wide receivers can remember to use different route moves and press releases in an actual game. Now first let's talk about press releases in an actual game, right? On our channel we post a ton about different press releases, different techniques of press releases, like when to use it, but how do you actually remember to use that in a game? And it all comes from coming up with a pre-snap plan based on film study. And if you don't have film, like let's say you're maybe a youth receiver, you just go into a game and you just have to kind of like deal and go, or middle school receiver, whatever, we're going to talk about what you guys can expect in a second. So let's say you have film. What you want to be looking for is the three specific, because really I would say each DB probably plays you maybe 3 to 4 different ways. You want to look for the 3 to 4 different common coverages that you'll see from the DB you're going to be lined up against. So let's say you're an X wide receiver, which is the outside wide receiver on the left, or pretend you're the Z wide receiver, which is the outside receiver on the right. And let's say, just for the sake of the example, you're the X receiver and you never move from the left side. You're only on the left side. What you should be looking for is how does that DB on the left side play you? So let's say I line up here. Let's say he likes to play a lot of, let's say use this yellow cone as the DB. Let's say he likes to play a lot of inside shade press when he comes down in press. He never goes head up. He never plays outside shade. He's just inside shade press. So what you should think about going into the game and throughout that week of practice is what are some different releases I could use to attack his leverage to the inside. Then let's say sometimes he'll play off maybe like 3 to 5 yards and he's right in front of you. You want to come up with, okay, if I see that look, I'm going to do a release where maybe I close the space, give a move, and then go. So that's how you ultimately want to do it. How I recommend watching film is watching the different clips of film that you have of that team and just making a simple tally chart. You guys, you can put inside shade, outside shade, head up, zone, outside shade off, man, whatever coverage looks that you see, and make tallies. How often do they come out in that look? And that's what you want to be prepared for. If maybe he does outside shade press only one time throughout 3 full games of film, maybe don't prepare for that. Maybe you want to have something in your back pocket for it, but don't necessarily prepare a ton for that look. Now, what if you don't have film on a team? What can you do? So if you don't have film on a team, you want to prepare for, I would say, 3 looks. 1 would be inside shade press. 2 would be outside shade press, and then 3, I would say a DB where he's 3 to 5 yards off, right in front of you, playing something called catch technique. I would have releases for all 3 of those plans, because a lot of times DBs will come out and outside shade press when they have help inside shade press when it's man-to-man, and he'll be in this catch technique look to try to get you to just run around so he can get hands and go. So those would be the situations I would plan for, and now we're going to talk about different moves that you could use versus those looks. Now, if you're a wide receiver, fellas, and you guys would like a weekly workout schedule that you can follow for 2 whole months to work on press releases, route running moves, different catching techniques, check out that very first link in the description below for our elite wide receiver training package. It's an 8-week daily schedule. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Break down the exact sets and reps you should do for each drill and gym exercise. It's a full field plan and gym plan specifically for receivers. So guys, check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested in that. Let's get back to this video. Now, when it comes to your plan off the line of scrimmage based on a DB, you want to keep it simple, because when you come up to the line of scrimmage, you don't want to get there and then have to start thinking about what you're doing. I recommend that receivers probably only, like, again, you want to learn a lot of releases. I'm not saying it's bad to work on 10, 11, 12 different press releases when you're training in the off season, but in an actual game scenario, you should maybe have 5 different things on your mind, and that's it. And it's based off of the different coverage looks that you are expecting. So keep it simple. When you come up to the line of scrimmage, you see a look, bam, you already know what you're going to do. Now, I'd be a fool to tell you that if I see this inside shade press look and my game plan is to do a crossover, that sometimes a DB might change his leverage or change the coverage that he's playing. So you just got to keep that in the back of your head, that sometimes a receiver has to be able to react on the fly. A great receiver is a great reactionary receiver. So let's talk about what you could actually use in just a simple plan for you guys. So let's say I'm lined up here, right foot's up, yellow cone's the DB, inside shade press. A simple move that you guys could use would be a crossover move. So I could step 1 with the outside foot, push back to the inside, then outside release. Now let's say I have outside shade press. What you could do is you could do something called like a split release. A split release is where your front foot goes out, back foot goes up, and maybe you throw a little jab at his outside leverage, and then you go back inside. And then if he's 3 yards away right in front of us, I could do something called like a 4-step release, where it's 2 quicks, 2 heavy steps. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm out. Keep things simple, you guys. If your plan is simple, easy to remember, that's how you're going to play faster in a game scenario. Now let's talk a little bit about top of the route and structuring your entire route and having a plan for the entire route, not just press coverage. So guys, we post a lot of videos on this channel specifically on how to run routes versus specific coverage looks. And honestly, it's all pretty similar. You just have to differentiate inside breaking routes and outside breaking routes. How you would run a post route, like let's say I'm lined up here, left foot's up, quarterback's to the inside. Let's say this yellow cone is the DB, he's inside shade press. How I would run a post versus inside shade press and how I would run a 10-yard dig versus inside shade press is really the exact same. And let's say this DB now was outside shade press. If he was outside shade press, I would run an out route or a corner route, both at 10 yards, the exact same way. Separate the routes by inside breaking and outside breaking. So let's walk you through one. This is a plan that you guys should have. Now, in practice, when you guys are going over things while watching film, you should map out this plan in your head and you have to rep it out over and over and over again. All this stuff is very, very hard to do when you're just trying to think on the fly. You have to play fast, especially at the wide receiver position. So let's say I have inside shade press. This could be for a post or a dig. What I would do is, again, what was our release that we were going over on inside shade press? A crossover. So I could attack his leverage. Now we know when the DB's inside shade press, the whole reason we attack his leverage is to get him to keep his leverage. He's not going to give up the inside release. He's going to hold that inside release. So I should pretty much just give up on the fact of I'm going to cross his face and get to the inside. You won't if he's disciplined. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to take the outside release. Now my goal with the outside release is to try to stack over the top of the DB. What does that mean? That means when you get over the top, you want this DB to be trailing your back hip. So when I'm running, I can maybe give him a move and then cut. Now, it's the same thing on a post, but what if I can't stack him and he's right on my hip? I want to be able to get up to the break point. I got to drop, swap by, and slip back underneath him. So that whole entire plan right there, you could do for a dig, you could do for a post. Obviously, other routes, it will be a little bit different, but again, guys, that's how you should think about routes. Inside breaking versus outside breaking, and keep your plan simple. Now, also, fellas, if you're a receiver and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this off season, we're going to be coming out to 15 different cities across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So if you guys are local to any one of these states that we're about to list, check out that second link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to one of our camps. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Seattle, Washington. Then we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas. Then we'll be coming out to Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So guys, you want some more information, want to learn how you can sign up, second link in that description below.